Just a second. Going live on LinkedIn, going live on YouTube. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Odys Talk. Actually, the anniversary episode of Odys Talks. It's episode number 10. The Odys podcast so far, which is cool, really cool. Naturally, this by Odys Global, your nonstop shop for premium age domains, premium domain names, and websites as of recently. So make sure to subscribe to our channel, like the video, share the video so that we get more views. We'll get to listen to this conversation that is about to happen. Also, make sure to we're going to discuss a lot of different things today. AI naturally, affiliate marketing ideas, and all the different exits, and I don't know, just making it work in the current environment, let's say. And yeah, if you hear that I am too loud or someone is too quiet, just in the YouTube chat, and I'll try to adjust things on the go. So yeah, today we're joined by Doug Cunnington, who is the founder of the Niche Site project and an overall prolific affiliate market. It's a never-ending flow of ideas for side projects and all these kinds of things. By the episode with Doug on Odys podcast, you can find it on our channel as well. Vaibhav Sharda, who is a digital entrepreneur and the founder of Autoblogging AI, which is going big these days. You can see it pretty much all over wherever SEOs and affiliate marketers and niche site builders gather and discuss things. And Kyle Claver, our own Odys mentor and founder of Claver Digital. He's a very successful affiliate marketer, having made some really nice business sales, I say. Recently, he has already shared it previously in our very first episode. So yeah, this is it. We're live, and yeah, let's get it on.
We are live.
All right, guys, I'll let you take a step forward in case I've missed something or you want to highlight something in particular about yourselves. So, Doug, why don't you go first?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the intro. And yeah,
Pleasure.
I'll just give a super quick story about my whole entire life. So I started as a corporate worker bee and did consulting and some project management in the software industry. And then I got laid off in 2015. But a couple years before that, I started dabbling with like really niche sites via Smart Passive Income and Pat Flynn. And I had some successes, a few failures, actually a lot more failures than successes, but a couple of those were pretty good. And then I started blogging and doing YouTube and podcast progressively over time. When I got laid off, I just grew the side hustles bigger. And now I have a couple podcasts, started dabbling in the personal finance area as well. Another one of my big interests is the financial independence, retire early. So I think they kind of go hand in hand since most people don't want to keep working forever. So yeah, that's what I'm working on these days. And thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. And yeah, thank you for joining. All right, Vaibhav, go second.
Yeah, guys, I'm like Vladimir said, I'm the founder of Autoblogging.ai, and I've been building automation since 2016, and I've always been into automations and stuff, and I hate the lazy part, the manual stuff, like entirely. I absolutely hate it. So I think autoblogging is basically a product of my frustration, and that's what everything. That is what defines whatever I do. Like anything that can be automated, I'm up for it. And yeah, auto blogging has been really it's been working really well now. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome, cool, thank you. Kyle, left behind.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Kyle. I moved to Thailand about 4 years ago to get more serious with SEO. I wanted to learn how to buy, build, and flip websites. Now here I am. I moved here 4 years ago. I'm still living in Thailand. I'm still here. Since then, I've bought and sold a couple of sites from actually Odys on Age Domains, affiliate and ad sites. And then I also have a boutique agency doing, working with SaaS, e-commerce, that sort of stuff. And then also doing some white label for other agencies, supplying content links. So everything is related basically to SEO.
Cool, awesome. I think this big round of applause. Now let's talk, guys. I think we should start with Autoblogging. As I mentioned, it's been making waves recently. I've watched through about, I don't know, conversation with Jackie Chow on YouTube. It's really cool, and it's really inspiring, I'd say, and actually eye-opening how building a that can be really applied by so many people in the industry, how that can lead to something so big, like big success. Could you just share a little how it all started for you? Um, what changes did you introduce along the way? Yeah, just go on and we'll see where it goes.
It started in the year 2016 when which was built on in WP Automatic. There's this WordPress plugin which will automatically scrape RSS feeds of different sites and build a new site for you, for example. So one of my blogs, it did like $22,000 an year, just, and then my family just said me like, why don't you scale this up? So it started from there. Like my entire auto blogging journey, I was like just into. I wanted to build like 1,000 sites in about 2 or 3 months maximum, built on expired domains and everything. So yeah, and then AI came into the picture, and previously I was using content, and now it's switched to AI because of OpenAI. Like quite great tool, quite great API, whatever. Um, so yeah, that's it. And yeah, okay. So I used to sell content sites directly as starters. Jackie Chow was one of those customers. He used to buy a lot of sites from me, and sooner or later I realized like, why can't I just sell them content? Like waiting like 6 months for it to grow. I'll simply send content to their own sites, which already have authority. So the traffic, which my fresh domains or expired domains, like in 6 months, it used to reflect instantly on their sites. So I started content as a service, and previously it was one content, and then I switched to AI. And auto blogging is basically a byproduct of that service, because I simply wanted users to just use the tool, get your articles like right there, instead of me going through your site and publishing content there. So yeah,
Mhm.
so it's basically, auto blogging was a product of pure laziness, because I didn't want to go and handle each and every client out there. So yeah, that's what SaaS is for.
Awesome. Have you guys experienced using either autoblogging or other AI content tools, and how did it progress over time?
Doug, what do you
Kyle
want
and
to
Doug.
All right.
there?
I haven't used any tools that scale, and nor have I published very much AI content at all. So I've done a couple tests here and there, but my the main experience that I have is with kind of the big players. So it's like just ChatGPT, a little bit with Bard, and like I said, I haven't been using it for publishing content to rank in Google or any other search engine for that matter. So my experience is quite limited.
Yeah, I'm
What about
basically
you, Kyle?
I'm using ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the main one that I'm using right now. I'm using that on a daily basis. I'm publishing quite a bit using that. I'm moving almost, basically, I'm in the for my sites anyways, like clients, I'm still using some human written and so on, but I'm moving to exclusively integrating that into the process. So everybody's going to be using ChatGPT, and that's already underway. So all the writers have access to ChatGPT. They're already incorporating it into their systems. I still use it on a daily basis, but basically that's how I'm moving towards it. But I'm not doing it. I'm doing it like heavily edited ChatGPT content. So basically what it's doing is it's bringing the cost down, and actually I'm aiming to have the quality being better as well. So better, the quality now is better than it was when it was just 100% human written, and also the cost is less. So aiming to get the cost down by about 50%.
Okay. How do you go about its data accessibility? Because it's been trained on the data sets that were like relevant by 2021.
Yeah.
So if you need fresh information, how do you go about that?
Yeah, so you feed it the information that you want it to write about, right? So you're just using it as a tool. So you can basically, there's two ways you can go about it. You can ask it, whatever you're trying to write. Generally, I find it's better to do like a manual process for your outline. So I'm pretty strict on outline still, because I do think that this is often overlooked when writing content. So there's a lot of missing pieces basically. So that's where you can kind of get the unique touches in there by having an editor. Maybe I'm old school or old fashioned, but it's just how I like to do things. Basically, because you want to have the editor go in there and actually see what the people are writing about, what details do they have mentioned there, what are the specific details, all that sort of stuff. And then also the subheadings that are most relevant, what's missing, how can we improve this while still keeping the word count in line. So once you have all that in the outline, then also you could feed that into ChatGPT, right, as kind of like your base. But then you could also summarize each section, and you can say, like, you can give it the opinions that you want to write about. You can give it the details, right? So you can say, like, write 150 word. You can write 150 word product description on this particular product. Here are the key details that I want you to cover, right? List pros and cons, and so on, right? So that's how you can do it. Sometimes it's a little bit off, or you can just ask you to write you 150 word description, see what it comes up with, and then you can just get the editor to replace it afterwards. So that's how I used to do it. But now I can just fact check it, but now I'd rather feed it the information first, right?
I have
so
a follow-up.
Less fact check. No, it's all good. Yeah, so less fact checking basically.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there. It's always tough with 4 people. So I am to your point there. I am writing a book currently, and I'm using the book I'm using the outline, and I'm using ChatGPT to produce the specific narrative, right? So I feed it my own story, right? Just bullet points. And then it's not filling in facts from elsewhere. And I mean, it's quite surgical, right? So I can say, give me X number of words. Somehow it still misses that, but I could go back and tell it, hey, give me 30% more word count, and then it'll beef it up a little bit. Of course, you have to edit it to make it sound like my own voice, but you can train it on a specific style. So yeah, Kyle, what you're saying, where you feed it exactly what you want, then you don't have to worry about the data set or like making up facts or being incorrect or anything like that.
Also on top of that too, right? It's like if you ask ChatGPT a question, like if you give it a basic prompt, it's going to give you kind of the same answer. So if imagine you have 10 different people asking it the same question, it's going to give roughly the same answer. Well, for SEO as it is right now, that doesn't work for SEO because your content has to be unique, right? So there's also that to consider. I mean, you could argue maybe it doesn't have to be unique, whatever. But for the most part, if you're trying to rank a little bit more competitive keywords, that's generally how it works, right? So in my experience, it's just better to give it a little bit more to work with, right? And on top of that, what you can do is you can say, for example, like write the tone or the style of Tim Ferriss or whatever famous person is available, right? That it knows how to write like Tim Ferriss. It has a lot of data on there. So you can match your tone and style to be like Tim Ferriss. Now you have Filipinos that are writing like Tim Ferriss, right? And you're supplying with the information. So there's like little things like that. So that's where you can get the tone and point. You can also supply, if you have an article that you liked, that your writer had from before, you can feed it ChatGPT that information. You can say, match this writing style and format. This is how I want my content to be, right? And then on top of that, we can do, like, I'm using a new plugin right now called AI PRM. Yeah. So you can save basically the details in that prompt. So each website has a specific persona with specific writing style. And a lot of that is also pulled by Google guidelines. So make sure you're using like using firsthand experience, like all that kind of stuff. Like, so you're able to integrate that into the process. So that's why I would say actually it does take a little bit, there's some editing involved, there's some work involved, but it takes for example, $5 an hour Filipino, and it makes them like probably a $20 or $25 an hour, like writer or full-time or copywriter, you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty interesting. Just making everybody much more productive and the quality just much better.
Yeah, that's something we've actually tackled last time during the last Odys Talk stream. I don't remember. It's Kieran Browning who mentioned it, that like the current developments, in particular ChatGPT, that help streamline processes and basically scaling things. They have to be taken advantage of, because you can take one person, we'll say one teammate, and to do him or her to do like 10 times as much work in a much better of a much better would have done on their own.
Yeah.
just by adapting.
100%. It's just up to you to figure out how you're going to implement this into your current process, right? And is it worth it or not, kind of thing, Some processes just aren't worth optimizing for because they don't fucking make any money. It's just like, just don't do it. But the one, like, obviously, if you're running an SEO agency or content agency or an affiliate site, that the majority of your work is based around content. So it fits perfect there, right? So if you can either make the quality better, then it's worth it. Or if you can bring your costs down, or if you can do both, that's even better, obviously, right? Bring costs down, improve the quality, and improve the output. So yeah, it's great. It's just figuring out the right prompts and then teaching other people to use the prompts, right? They're not always going to feel like that's kind of the game a little bit, right? Is they're not going to figure these prompts out on their own. I mean, unless you have like high level people, but that's not always the case. If you have like, for example, your general VA, for example, right? They might not be able to figure out the prompts necessarily, but if you can kind of figure it out first, then it's really easy to outsource that and just follow this process or just do this, right? Like, yeah, it's great. Yeah. So it's great for me. It's not as great for them. I mean, now the team is basically, for my team right now, is half the size. My expenses are half as much as they were 3 months ago, and actually output is up. Like, so I think it's pretty, from my perspective, it's cool, it's happening fast. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Vaibhav, getting back to you, I haven't used your tool yet. I've seen several reviews on YouTube, and I've seen like people talking about it on Twitter, on Facebook, just sharing various tips and insights. And it seems that, at least perspective, that Autoblogging AI basically takes everything that was just discussed and just does it on its own. Am I right?
Yeah, so the thing is, like, whatever Kyle said, like, it is 100% true. Like, you just need to get the prompts right, and that's what I work on. Like, I get my prompts right. Like, I need to, like, that's my full-time job now. I'm a prompt engineer, as they say. So so I've been working on my prompts. Like, I'm trying to acquire a lot more, training data sets, for example. And then I'm also, studying more stuff. Like, I have this, a Core's topical authority course. I'm a student there. I'm learning more about SEO, how the writing works, what I can integrate or what I can automate with AI, how I can improve my prompts, for example. And so I'm, keep uh, the content quality. Sorry. So the thing is, like, I'm always working on, improving the content quality for all types of niches. It's a very hard job, very tough job, because you need to create a generalized prompt that works for, and but again, it also needs to work perfectly for that niche, for any specific niche. So it's a very hard mix to reach at, and that's what people pay for autoblogging.ai for, instead of doing the manual work on ChatGPT, which obviously, like, you will obviously get a very much better result if you're working on one particular article for like an hour or two with your specific prompts with each paragraph or sentence, for example. But if you need something like very quickly in a minute or two, for those specific stuff, with the prompts right, I think autoblogging does like 90% of the job. And the 10% you can actually go in again on, paste the outputs on ChatGPT, improve it according to your own writing style, add some stuff, that add in external links or internal links as per your needs. Yeah, it's basically the first layer, and then you can, increase your productivity twice with that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for
And it's
sharing that.
using ChatGPT. It's using the 3.5 version, right? Vaibhav?
This is actually all three, 3.5, and 4. Some
Okay.
parts are very good with 4, some parts are very good still with 3 GPT.
Yeah.
Like, it's very weird, with every update that OpenAI does, they're kind of, making it very much harder to do prompt engineering, because, it make life easier, but all those prompts are not working anymore. So I need to revisit all the previous prompts as well, and improve them, because I don't know what's wrong with them, but they are actually reducing the quality of outputs from the AI.
S- So I have a follow up on that. So are the quality is just going down for the same prompt that was working well before? Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it
So
is. Yeah.
how do you troubleshoot that?
I think a lot of my users are actually, complaining. They do complain about stuff like this was working before, this is not working anymore, and then I troubleshoot it. Like, okay, I try to replicate what they're doing, and find the errors and trying to tweak the prompts more, because that's all we can do. But yeah, you can add some more, rejects or other codes in the middle. So try to identify those things, and just send the request again to OpenAI. Like, okay, this is not the right thing. Just do another version of it.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. I was listening and I was thinking about the thing that is prompted by many SEOs out there. Even Julian Goldie, who was participants of the previous Odys talks. So he wants to build a, a, a website completely filled with AI content, and he wants to do it using. Then there was Matt Diggity just recently, who released this video about his site built AI website completely built, yeah, built out on an age domain, and read many other times about people talking about like the marriage between domains and AI websites. What are your perspectives on this? Is it a good idea to do that, and why is so?
Uh,
I'll go
Go
first, and
ahead.
then
Yeah,
because
sure.
Go on, go on.
I'm ready. Do it. Yeah.
so since I don't have as much experience, it'll be better for me to go first
Sure,
because I
sure.
won't have as good of
Okay, sure.
stories. So I think it's awesome. A couple things, an observation where like sometimes people dabble and they pick up some skills, but they never had like a big win before. So I think if you were around at the right time, and we were talking, I can't remember if we were recording yet, but basically being at the right place at the right time, getting a little bit lucky, having a skill set where you know about age domains and you know a place to get them, and you know about content and you know about AI, like all these little micro skills can come together in a really magical way. And I've seen some examples and heard some stories, but I haven't done it myself. So I know it can be very awesome. And I think if people are poised to take action like right now, it'll probably be really amazing. Now, I'm going to plant the seed for a follow-up question, Vlad, that I want us to hit later, and that's the
Sure, no
longevity
problem.
of this. So like so many things in SEO, it moves fast, and all the AI stuff has been moving really fast. So I'm just curious. Well, I just don't know. No one knows how much longevity a site built with like all AI content is going to have. Maybe it's a really long time. Maybe it's not. So that's the concern that I have overall. So I'll plant the seed for that. Hopefully we can come back to it if we have time. But that's my
Sure.
thought. I think age domains and AI content, it's a really good way to scale quickly. And if you have the skill set, like go for it, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Go on,
So
Kyle.
I mean, I like it's also it's nuanced, right? Because there's varying degrees of age domains and there's varying degrees of AI content, and then within each niche, there's going to be different keywords within that niche, which are going to have different competitive levels, right? So it's like you can't compare one site in one niche in one article to another site. You know what I'm saying? So it's like because you're always competing in SEO. So if you have the strongest domain, you're targeting the weakest keywords, right? With AI content, then yeah, it's probably going to work for a long time, right? But if you have a new competitor that comes in, say you go and you buy an age domain and it's DR40, right? Let's just say whatever it is, and then I come into the same niche and I'm a DR50 with way better backlinks, and I just have a little bit better AI content than you, and I do the exact same thing that you did. I just rip off your sitemap. Well, then I'm going to outrank you, right? That's just how it works. That's how SEO works. So you can't say, oh, AI doesn't work or my site doesn't work. It's like, well, why did it not work, right? You have to look at things on a specific, like on a case-by-case situation. And also, obviously, now some niches are going to be treated differently than others. Some keywords are going to be treated differently than others. An info article is going to be ranking differently than an affiliate article because Google's very specific about these guidelines, right? So, and also if you're doing, for example, if you're in the health niche and you're busting out AI content, trying to rank for all these affiliate keywords, chances are you're probably going to get dinged because it's your money, your life. So it's nuanced, right? Like and again, you're always competing with other people. So it's very niche. And I think this is like when I do also consulting and stuff like this with either clients or, other site owners, whatever it is, they're like, oh, why, just looking on things like on a very general basis, but you have to drill down on the specifics, right? So again, yeah, AI content 100% can work. Right. And it 100% can work, I think, for a long time. But if you're spamming it like crazy, you have to consider that. And if it's really low quality, I mean, it's not hard for Google to figure that out. Right. It would be no different than you just going and hiring some 1 cent a word or whatever, you know what I mean? Like super cheap writer and just telling him to blast out content. And people were doing that before. And it just either it gets dinged by Google during an update, or you just have a new competitor that comes in and just do a little bit better than you. Right. You also have to consider that Google, in my opinion, now is relying a lot more on user metrics. Right. So if you're not feeding the user what they want, they can read this 100%. Right. So you're ranking for a period of time. And if your user metrics are shit, then you're not going to rank for very long. And especially if you have another competitor that comes in, it just does a little bit better than you. Right. So there's varying degrees of this. Right. Just like there's varying degrees of content in every niche and I hate to say like everyone is different, but just like don't say like does AI, like I see this people ask, does AI content work? It's like fuck, what's like show me your like what keyword, what niche, what are you trying to rank for? Who are your competitors? What are they doing? Is it going to work in a VPN niche? Probably not. Like look at your competitors. They're doing everything right with your 70, 80, 90 plus sites. So that's kind of how I would approach it. And so, I mean, I have sites right now that are 100% AI. They've been doing fine for more than a year, right? That I've been playing around with on age domains, auction domains, using redirects, all this stuff. But it's also, I'm a little bit more conservative in my approach where I'm not doing like the dirtiest AI. Like you see some stuff and it's really, it's like just one click auto publish. And it's not good. Like it's just the quality is it's really poor, right? The search intent doesn't match, the subtopics don't match, the search intent, it doesn't make any sense. Like it's just totally all over the place, right? So that's not my style. I'm doing a little bit of human edited, and it's also on a stronger domain, and it's lower competition keywords. So I'm not competing against anybody. Nobody's competing with me because it's lower competition. I'm still getting a lot of traffic because there's quite a bit of articles. It's making money. It's actually approved to Mediavine. So Mediavine didn't figure it out, right? I'm making money from Mediavine. So, and it's been fine for, like I said, more than a year plus, but this, so it also depends on the keywords that you're competing against. And that this is where it all gets kind of ironed out, I think, in the core updates. So
Yep.
that's my 2 cents anyways.
Okay.
Very nice
So-
2 cents. And speaking of longevity, Vaibhav, what's your perspective on this?
Yeah, so I think AI works great with age domains. It won't because the domains matter as well. The history of the domain or whatever links it has, what niche it was in, if the niche is competitive. And there are many different factors. But it's a very cheap way to test a new domain. Like you can actually just add content to it leave it for like 3 to 4 months and just see if it grows. You can actually replace all those ranking articles with actual human articles if you want to, or you can simply edit those AI content like with specific, fact check it, add internal links, make it very much better. Whatever your strategy is with human content, you can implement it there itself. So it's like AI is a very cheap content. Like it's cheap content. That's it. Like that's the bottom line of it. Like and and it's quite reliable as well. Like for people like me who are too lazy or who are too cheap, myself. But for me, like I think I can actually like build sites, and if I think 20 to 30% of sites actually grow, that's it. I'm happy with it. Like I know I can make a very better ROI with my invested money into all those sites. So yeah, the strategies matter. If you are only into one specific side, if you only are into one specific niche, you can actually simply replace all those articles with human written content later on. Just grab the keywords, grab the data, um, just analyze it. Like just that domain works, and that's it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you also don't know a lot of times what keywords are going to do really well in within a niche,
Yeah.
right? So once you figure out that it's doing well, you can go, and you don't even have to replace it 100% with human edited. Like what I do, I have a process also where I'm like, maybe because I would say every month my content is getting better, right? But if I have a site that's a year old, the articles that I posted a year ago are going to be worse than the content now, right? We're making improvements, our processes are getting better. Also, Google changed their guidelines on how the review guidelines or whatever it is, right? Adding all this stuff. So you can, the older content, you can then go and refresh it. So that's already going to be a part of the process anyways. And you're like, I'm not going to refresh a lot of content that never got clicks in the first place, just because if they're already ranking, but there's just not a lot of traffic for those, then I'm not going to waste so much of my time. But if there's articles that kind of surprised me and they got like 5 or 10x the traffic that I was expecting, then yeah, might as well just like, let's try to keep those ones ranking well. Let's try to keep them up to date. Let's keep them fresh. And make sure that everything is, on point, basically. So, and again, that doesn't take a lot of time. It's not like rewriting the whole thing. It's just improving them slightly. I think also freshness helps ranking. So just the fact that you going in there and editing it, then changing the date and then fetching it again is going to give you a bit of a boost in terms of rankings. So.
Any plans on making another 6-figure sales soon?
Yeah, hopefully by the end of the year. Yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. Yeah,
cool.
So that's the goal, basically. Mid 6 figures I'm aiming for. Let's see. Yeah,
sounds solid.
We'll see. But there's a lot of unknowns there, right? We don't know, but that's the goal, anyways. Yeah. So hopefully, I think September I should have enough data to list it. We'll see what Empire Flipper says. I'll keep you guys.
Yeah. Before we get back to the longevity, there's a question in our YouTube chat. Mark J. Draper is asking, okay, tools such as Autoblogging, ZimWriter, ChatGPT, etc. be the end of the overpriced, pushed Jasper?
100%. 100%, I think. Yeah, there's just no doubt about it. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't even know anybody that's still using Jasper, to be honest. I don't think anybody's using that anymore. So I think it's already happened. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm out of the loop, right? But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think we are very much limited to SEO or blog articles when it comes to autoblogging or different tools, ZimWriter, for example. With Jasper, there's a lot more possibilities. Like you can add create ad content or Facebook posts, social media posts, captions, etc. So it still serves a lot of different purpose, but nothing that ChatGPT can't solve it for you. So basically, Jasper's main competition is ChatGPT, and everything else doesn't matter. Like we are very much niche into blogging.
And I'll add in there. I think it will be the end of Jasper. I never really liked it. I mean, I did a couple reviews because they wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. So I had to do a review at some point.
Affiliate commission.
Yeah, and
it's the best tool ever. Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. My videos sucked. I was a horrible affiliate, but
yeah,
I think the use case that it works for is a bigger organization that can spend some money, and it's not lean like us, right? We have very small teams, so a big organization where they're not going to train the people. They're using the templates or whatever kind of front end they've laid on top. So that's the only use case that it makes sense to me, because there's a lot of waste in bigger companies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I just noticed too, I agree with that point as well. And speaking of big companies, Upwork integrated Jasper. They integrated that into Upwork as well. So on their proposals, you can get so I guess they're not going anywhere. They're just probably going to be crushing it with the big companies basically. So I noticed that for proposals, you can request, I think I didn't use it much, but you can request Jasper to improve your content or improve your, something like this. So yeah, but they've integrated it. Yeah.
Gotta check on there for a while.
Yeah,
it's a dirty place. Stay away from there.
I'm joking. Oh come on! It fed me for so many years.
No. I'm joking. I'm a proud freelancer still on Upwork, so it's all good. It's all good. It's definitely much more competitive now for sure. Now everybody, you can see even on the new tool that I have, this ARP, whatever the extension for chat. One of the most popular. Because you can save prompts on there and people can make their prompts public. And one of the most common ones is Upwork proposal template. So you just basically paste in your job post and then ChatGPT will spit out the already Upwork version. And you can see it has a very high star rating and so on. It's a very popular one in there. So I just know that people are spamming it like crazy. So fair play to them. I'm still just doing copy paste anyways. So I'm not even taking it that far, just book a call. That's it.
That's cool. Speaking of longevity, I can't remember exactly. It was in another of our stations. Probably it was Greg Elfrink of Empire Flippers saying something about that. Well, if you're building a website using AI and you're planning to sell it in the future, you have to make sure that it lasts long enough so you can provide the potential buyers with all the necessary stats, show stable, steady, and is making money and can make more money in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much everything I remember about that. I just recalled it, but just share your thoughts about that.
I agree with that, but I think that number one, people are not going to admit that they're using AI content when they go to sell it, right? So buyer beware, right? Just nobody's, you know what I'm saying? Just the reality, right? And number two, I see a lot of people talking about, we don't, for our clients, we don't use AI content or human edited. It's are you watching your writer use, you don't think that every writer online right now is using AI content to help the writing process? You can't be that naive. Everybody, for sure, all writers, they're talking about all the forums, all these stuff, all the Facebook groups. So even if you're running an agency and you want to say that you're not using AI content, you probably are without even knowing it. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think that everybody's using it anyway. I think basically the way that I try to judge it the most is I'm judging it based on the end result, does this, is it high quality content? Is it fact checked? Does it pass all the tools that we're using? Copyscape, Grammarly Pro, all this stuff, right? Also on top of that, adding the surfer element to it, you are forced to optimize it even more, right? Because even the tools that are saying they're 100% surfer optimized, it's not actually the case. To get the actual score, they help insert some of the terms, but it's not 100% server optimized. So there is some editing involved in there as well. So it's is this a high quality article? Does it meet the guidelines? Does it have limited fluff? Does it offer a unique perspective? Does it offer more than what's already on page one? Does it, meet all of these checkboxes? And quite frankly, I mean, if you're using AI, I know it's a lot of work regardless. It's not something that you can just hit one click and then it comes out like that. So I think that just having the quality standards as being high, and then how the writer decides to get there, I don't really care. Some writers in the past were even outsourcing to other writers. This is a case. They had 5 writers working below them. They had a good profile as a freelancer or whatever. And they were this has already been the case, right? It's already been the case with VAs and all this other stuff. So, and again, I know it can be the case and people it does not bother you. It's well, I'm just most concerned about the end result. As long as you're, being, it's like you're not cheating me, in some other way. But if we agree to say whatever the cost is, and you supply me with what we've agreed to, then I don't really care how you get there. That's my big thing. So
Yes. The idea is to build a brand, a product, a service, whatever, like solid that works, and it doesn't really matter if it's been achieved with the help of AI, just by the person themselves, right? So
that's
what
my opinion,
matters,
anyways.
yeah, what matters.
I'm sure people would disagree with me on that, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. But this is
Yeah.
actually what I'm thinking about this. So yeah, you just have to make sure that, especially if you intend to sell it, to sell your like online business or whatever, you have to make sure that it uh yeah, secure and functional, and will continue working after you just give it to another person. So yeah, Doug, what do
Yeah.
you think about that?
I think to layer on top of what Kyle mentioned, I think sometimes writers are not that great, and I've definitely gotten real writers before these tools were out, and the content had a lot of fluff. It was, probably 30-40% things you could just take out, very redundant, and you can get some pretty good content, grammatically correct, reads well, it's punchy. You can have a specific style, like it will be better than most, cheap writers generally. And that's just like with some very simple prompts on ChatGPT or Bard or whatever. And as far as selling aside, I don't have as much experience as Kyle, especially here recently. But I mean, my hunch is, knowing some of the psychology of like sales and marketing and such, if you have a site that has growth and the growth curve is going up, people will be excited on that. When you hit a little bit of a stagnation, if you've plateaued, if you've started to drop a little bit, people get nervous about that. But if you have growth, people will be pumped, and you could say, some of this content is really fresh and it's going to continue to grow. I mean, we obviously don't know that, but there's good potential for that to happen. So I think if you are showing positive momentum, people will have some emotion that kicks in, and some of the other details, like where the content came from, doesn't really matter, because you see the evidence, you see the past, and you can imagine what it could be like in the future.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's going to be there's definitely going to be some people that are going to be pretty nervous to accept that, right? But I can guarantee that my content, some that I mean, like I said, I'm not 100% AI yet. I'm transitioning into that. Now, which sites have the AI, I'm not going to tell anybody, right? But I would guarantee that you wouldn't be able to tell which ones have AI. I mean, there's one that's pretty dirty. You'll be able to tell that's AI, right? Because that's a test site. I don't plan on selling it or whatever. I'm just playing around. But most of the content, especially relative to the competition, because it's not only that I have AI, I have people using AI to write the content, but I still have full-time editors that are proofreading. It's not like we just publishing without it being double checked. That's another important part of my process, right? So it's like it's an editor that's creating the outline, then sending all the details to the writer. So it's a different person then, right? So they're kind of checking each other in a sense, right? Because if you rely on a writer to do the outline, they could rush through it or whatever. So it's easier to hold, in my opinion, an editor accountable for the outline, especially if you're paying them by the hour, right? It's easier to oversee that. So they're doing all that. They're supplying the details. They know the search intent. They know how it should be written. What's the goal of the article, right? Is it just to rank? Is it a blog article? Is it an affiliate article? If it's for a client, are we trying to get a conversion? What's the main conversion point here? Which is something that not a lot of people talk about, is conversions. Like, are we trying to get them to sign up for a free trial of X? Are we trying to get them to go to the email list? All that sort of stuff. So that's the editor's responsibility. Then once the content is written, then it's also getting checked by the editors. Again, they're making sure that all the criteria is being hit. We have like a pretty in-depth process that we're following in terms of like the content standards that we're following. So I'm less concerned because it is always being double checked. And then on top of that, there's a manager who's overseeing that. And I'm still overseeing all of that. And I'm pretty strict on the content itself, right? So I think that, and I've read a lot of people, like a lot of times what happens, sort of kind of drill on this, but I see it a lot. It's like they just order content from an agency. The agency doesn't care so much. No offense to agencies, but they're getting paid based on the words that they're supplying, right? They don't really care so much about the end results. So they're just supplying, you order 100,000 words, they give you 100,000 words. There's a lot of fluff. They don't really care. They just need to supply 100,000 words of surfer content or whatever it is. It just has to be all green and surfer. That's it. There's no other like steps above that. And then if it's the site owner, he or she probably doesn't have a team to inspect all 100,000 words. They do a quick spot check and they just go ahead and publish it. So I think I'm more concerned about that. You're not checking every article. I think that my content's going to be much higher quality. Also because it's my own site. I treat them, even if it's a client site, I treat it like it's my own site because I'm not trying to scale that necessarily. I'm more incentivized by the result of the client, not about selling them 20,000 words or 100,000 words just to upsell them. I want them to get results. I want them to make money because then they're going to want to work with me longer. And with my own sites, I want to make money. Obviously, I'm not just like publishing content for the sake of it, So that's kind of my approach to it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for the input. I asked you to take a look at one of the Odys domains. I'm gonna and then share your thoughts about what you could owned it. What would you build on it? How would you monetize it? I'll just share my. Yeah, that's it. So it's 2peer.com. It's a 20 domain, obviously in English with the DR31, over 140 referring 3 authority links. So previously it hosted a website that was focused on creating web-based collaboration and location tools. So yeah, this is the website, the domain. It's quite brandable, just one figure and one word, not even 2 words. Great metrics. Kyle, why don't you go first as an Odys mentor who's also started recently doing prints? By the way, you can go to the mentors tab on our marketplace and find Kyle over there and check his check the domains he's recommending and his video blueprints as well. So yeah, go on, guys.
It was also related to online. Sorry, to talk about 2peer. It was also related to basically online security as well, right? I didn't misread that, right? It's online security based on my research. There's also some online security there, like privacy, I believe, right? Okay, good. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. Yeah. So online privacy, online security. Obviously, that's beware. It's a competitive niche, obviously. So I did a little bit of research. One of the things that I do like about these kinds of niches, or just in general, what I always like to look at is the overall community. I've spoken about this quite a bit. My favorite place to go check that out is Reddit. So if you look into Reddit, just like the R privacy, so online privacy, there's 1.3 million members in that community there. So obviously there's a strong community of people. That's just one Reddit thread or subreddit, I guess. So there's obviously many more on top of that. So there's obviously a lot of people that are interested in online security. So I would go the online security route with this, considering it was about kind of photo sharing, but it had that security kind of theme on the site. So that's kind of where I'd focus, but it is a competitive niche. So you'd have to basically, you could start off kind of like the low hanging fruit just by going to Reddit and seeing what Reddit's ranking for. Start off on the blog route, just try to monetize through ads or whatever, right? That's kind of an easier way. But again, it's more competitive, so you have to be careful with that. I'm not sure how fast you'll be able to grow the traffic. So start there. And then with those kind of informational queries, like, so one of the ones that I found, for example, in the Reddit thread was, it's not a lot of volume, but it's pretty specific. It's like, people want to know about certain things. So basically, how do I torrent on university Wi-Fi? This is kind of a question people are asking. It's got some search volume, right? And the answer to that was, number one of the recommendations is don't do it. But the second one was like, the guy is saying he's going to do it regardless. So how do I do it? He really wants to know how to do it. The solution is to get a VPN. So you can promote a VPN without necessarily targeting the general affiliate keywords of like best VPN, VPN this versus VPN that, VPN reviews. So you can get creative. That's kind of the approach that I would take to it, is looking at the informational to kind of get that kind of that base, right? That topical authority on those low info or those low competition info keywords, and then see what's really working and then see what the actual solution would be for these kinds of problems, and then promote a product within there. Now, as we all know, you can just Authority Hackers has a good article on VPN. They do a good demo on like the commissions. It's obviously really great commission for VPNs. Just keep in mind that it's competitive, right? So just keep it in mind. And then you can also do that with other tools, not just VPNs. Just go figure out what are the kind of questions and concerns that people are having, and then promote the solution. So kind of like that pain point SEO. And obviously a lot of these SaaS products have good commission. And then if you can find some lower competition keywords, like VPN wouldn't work to target that specifically. Like I said, the VPN versus VPN or VPN review, just because it's just dominated by VPN specific authority sites. So you wouldn't be able to rank that, but maybe you could find some other products that still have a good commission that you could do a individual product review or comparison articles on those. So based on the time that I had, that's kind of what I came up with. Hopefully that's clear enough.
Awesome. Thank you. Vaibhav?
Yeah, actually, whatever I wanted to say, Kyle covered it like perfectly.
Sick,
Like
sick.
how to, yeah, basically, it's all about like connecting like stuff, like connecting to the internet or whatever. Like you can start an informative blog like with search with very low competitive keywords with higher volume, and that domain already has a very great authority as well, like great links to it. So I'm pretty sure it will rank very easily with the informative content. About the monetization, you can actually start, start doing some VPN affiliates, which is a very, which is a very good monetization method. And that's it. I think Kyle covered it entirely.
All right, you're making me
Cool,
go
thank you.
last.
Doug?
I agree with those guys. Pardon me. But I think you potentially could lean into some of the physical products. So I know on the listing page you have modems, routers, Ethernet cables, stuff like that. So I think you could lean into that a little bit. Also thinking about security, you potentially could talk about how to put up like cameras around your house and that sort of thing, like with a ring, and then making sure you have internet. Some people have large properties and maybe the internet connection, you would need like a mesh system or some other extenders or something like that. So I would lean into that a little bit as well. The other thing, just to layer something even more complicated, I love podcasting and YouTube. So I would add one of those, maybe not both, but whichever one you feel you could do as a networking tool. So you could build, EAT very well by networking with other people. You can get content specifically for whichever platform or format you're looking for. But you could also translate that over to the written word also. So after you do an interview or have a discussion, or maybe you interview them via text, you can just put that on your site and have additional expertise and authority added. So that's my 2 cents. Just add some networking piece in there so that you can build connections and build a brand, which we're all trying to do, even if we're using AI content in some capacity. Like if you have a strong branding behind all that, I think it goes even farther.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you guys for your insights, for your thoughts. If you want to check out this domain and perform an in-depth analysis, let's say, you can find the link to it in the description box below the video, or you can just go to peer.com and you'll just land on the on our landing page with that domain.
Just say Kyle referred you in the little referral section.
Yeah.
Just say Kyle, referred by Kyle.
That too.
Yeah, that's key. Don't forget about that.
That too. And yeah, you can also book a call with Kyle via the marketplace. Just as I mentioned, just go to the mentors tab, find Kyle over there, and book a call straight with him if you want to. Doug, speaking of what you were saying, like podcasting, you even when we were talking a few months back during the podcast episode, you mentioned that as much into website building these days, but you're more focused on video content creation. Also has this affiliate marketing pivot to it. Could you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. And
make it work for yourself.
And I think you're asking, how can you essentially use the same business model, but just do video instead. So I'll answer that.
Sort of.
Okay. Well, go on, elaborate more, and I'll answer the exact question.
Well, that actually was.
Okay, perfect.
Also, I'm curious from a beginner's perspective as well. Like, because obviously you have a good following. I'm just curious, like, if you could, like, how would a beginner approach that? I was also interested to ask this question as well, so it's kind of
Great.
yeah. So.
All right. So from just the business perspective, it's really the same. I mean, when I started the YouTube channel, I looked at the content that I had on my blog that I already wrote, and then I just repurposed it into video. And if you look back in those early days, you'll see like it's the same title. Like I just translated it to video. It is great to show people how to do something on YouTube. People are looking like how to do this or how to do that. And just like you mentioned, Kyle, so if someone's trying to download torrent, I don't remember the exact question, on the university internet, and it's blocked, right? They don't want you to do that. You could just show them how to do it in a quick little video. And then of course you could say, hey, you're going to need these tools. And it translates to anything from woodworking to plumbing to any household thing, right? Everyone's looking up how to fix their AC or whatever. So you could just say, hey, if you need to fix your AC and this is the problem right here, then you need to buy this capacitor. And like, here's the link, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pretty straightforward, and you're solving the pain point. As far as getting started, it's really easy to get started. It's hard to keep going. I recommend people just like keep it as simple as possible. So it's very easy to think, hey, I need a different camera. I need to get a studio set up. I need to do all this stuff. And I actually know some people that like set up a full studio. They have like super fancy cameras, like way better than what I had for several years. They would paint stuff, put up sound treatments, get the lighting stuff. They do like 2 videos and they're like, this is too hard, and they quit. So they spent all this time and money and then they just didn't do it. So you can keep it really
simple. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and you could just use your phone. And one of the most important things is sound. So the lighting can be a little fucked up. That's okay. People can see past that. But the sound needs to be really clean, because people are not going to sit through, background noise or static or something like that. And I encourage people to go check out my early videos, because I've left all of them up. First video was like in 2014, train wreck. That was 9 years ago, right? So it's just bad. I'm far more comfortable, but it's through thousands of reps. Like I don't even know how many videos I have, but I've done a lot of videos at this point. So the sooner you get started, the sooner you get over the awkwardness, which is probably 100 or 200 videos in. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be awkward for quite a long time.
So two a week for a year, and you should basically get there.
Yeah,
that's
something
like the
like
first
that.
100, right? That's
Yeah.
like the first 100, basically. So you start to make some progress there.
And I literally, once I decided I was going to work harder on YouTube, I did 2 live streams, not just videos, but 2 live streams per week for a year plus. I don't even remember how long, but again, you just get the reps in. Sometimes no one's watching at all, but you just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's such a good, I think that's such a good lesson. Like just basically what you said there, right? Because like you were saying, some people, they go out and buy all this fancy equipment. And I think in a sense, that's a form of procrastination, right? That's a form of just delaying the actual work.
Yeah.
Right. So you're kind of flipping that, and you're just saying like, this is like less important. The most important is like getting the reps in. So I really love that mentality. I have a couple of follow-up questions, if you don't mind, for just scratch my own itch, basically. So when you're talking about the sound, is it just a microphone that's really necessary to get started that you would recommend, or is there additional things, the room or whatever? Obviously, you don't want to be outside, but I mean, like, is it as simple as just getting a decent microphone and it's a room that's quiet?
That'll go a really long way. If you get like a $50 mic, it should be good enough most of the time. I'll tell you afterwards, Kyle. But like for your specific room, I could tell you there's too much flat surfaces. If you just get a couple pillows and put them in the corners of the room, maybe even in front of you, that will cut down on a lot of the echo. It's not bad, but like I can hear it. I have like studio headphones on, so I could hear it. But I'm in a basement. There's actually a lot of flat surfaces in here, but you can see this is the flooring joist, so there's no echo in here. So again, this is a more expensive mic. It's a Shure whatever, but you could just get like an ATR 2100, get it used. I bought mine used and I use it to travel because this is a little bigger and more cumbersome. So two things. One, have a decent mic, but really on your phone is probably decent as long as you're in a quiet room.
Cool. Great info. And then one, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just adding to that particular thing. Like you can use, there is an app called Droid Cam, which you can use. You can simply use that and replace your phone as a webcam with Windows. I was actually searching about it like a week ago. I'm not in my home right now, so my clarity is very bad. I think default MacBook cam should be good, but it's very bad. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, please continue.
Awesome. I'm also curious real quick about the, like, obviously if you're starting a niche site, like just to compare, basically the competitor research is really important. I know for niche sites, right? Like like I said, if you have a new niche site, and you want to get into the VPN niche, it's like, good luck. Like you could do like 10 articles a day for the next year. You're not getting into the VPN niche, right? So I'm curious, how does that look for you when you're doing your research? How much does that like impact what you're doing? Or is it mostly just for you? You're just basing it off of like, you're interested in it, so you're doing the videos? Because I know you have a couple of channels for it. Like Doug, you have like the Mile High Fi Club.
Right.
Hi-Fi Mile Club. Yeah. It's something along those lines. I know the name, if I search it, but I don't know the exact name. So you have a couple, but and that's obviously in the personal finance, which I would imagine is pretty competitive, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but how does that impact how you're moving forward or how you're planning your videos? How does competitive research fall into that?
I haven't done too much in that area, so it could be important, but for both of my main channels, so Doug Cunnington channel and Mile High Fi,
there we go.
I'm going to be working on it for a very long time. So the competitor research doesn't really matter. It's going to be competitive, right? Like internet marketing is competitive. I started it a long time ago. The videos were horrible, but I'm emphasizing networking and relationships. So that and persistence can take you a really long way. You could be very bad and then improve over time. Yeah. And if you are nice and you can meet people and build relationships, people will help you out, right? People will collaborate with you or whatever. And that's been like one of the biggest things. And I didn't realize it, but I was very aggressive in the beginning to build those relationships and try to do collaborations. And some of those people are like friends, whatever, like 8 years later. And it was just a cold email. I commented on a couple of videos or whatever. I mean, I was a fan of whoever I reached out to. And then the other part in the personal finance space, again, I knew it was a project I'm going to work on for a while. And we're optimized for the audio podcast side. So there are things we probably should do to grow faster on YouTube, but I don't want to be a slave to the algorithm. So I'm doing what I want to do and it's growing slower, but I'm not going to burn out. So I can stick with it longer than people that are like, personal finance is too competitive, I'm going to stay out. Or maybe they get started and they're like, this isn't working, and they quit 6 months later. So I know I'll be able to work on it for several years, and just through attrition, I'll be because actually that's how my blog was too. And the YouTube channel, like a lot of people start blogs in internet marketing, but they stop after about a year or so. So like most of the people I started with in 2013 or 15, they've dropped off. They're like, it didn't work out. They got jobs again, whatever.
Yeah. And how far are you planning in advance for your videos? Like how many topics in advance, should I say, are you thinking? Sorry, last question.
Yeah.
Last question.
No,
I know
no,
we're running out of time here. But
no, I could talk about this shit all day long.
let's do it. No, I'm joking.
So in the past, I would plan out like much farther.
Yeah.
Currently, my first answer was going to be like 1 to 2 days ahead, but that's not exactly true. I'm taking a ton of time off, like most of July and most of August. So I have like videos done for both of my channels, like through September. So I'm like really far ahead, and I'm working on a book. So I've like kind of batched some stuff, and then I'm good for a long time. But you know, there's some videos that I'm probably going to put out, and I'll think of them. I'll do some outlines. I'll make them the next day, and then I'll have my VA schedule them out. You know.
Nice. Cool.
Nice. Yeah. All right, guys. It was a terrific conversation. Enjoyed every minute of it. I'm saying it every single time, but I legitimately am enjoying every minute of each conversation. So many golden nuggets, lots of cool stuff every time, and this time it isn't an exclusion. So, and thank you all for watching, for listening to this conversation. I hope you you also found nuggets during our during this chat. Make sure to tune in next time, next Wednesday. We're going to be joining Ariel Phoenix, Kyle Roof, and one of the Odys mentors to be announced a bit later. Make subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video to your friends, family, pets, I don't know, whoever you want to. And yeah, go to marketplace.odys to check out on our inventory of age domains, premium domains, and websites. Reach Kyle for personal consultation, or just take a look at his recommendation videos he's recommending. Yeah, stay tuned. Gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for joining.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
It was terrific.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah. See y'all.
Thank you.